Hi guys, Jerry here. So, welcome to this little impromptu video regarding battle themes for beginners. So this video is essentially, I don't know about teach, but essentially show you, well, especially me, how I go about making battle themes. I mentioned for beginners because I'm basically going to use one piece I've already done as an example for a very simple JRPG sounding battle theme. This is one I composed for an upcoming RPG called Lacria Legends. And the theme is literally called Battle Theme. As you can see here, I don't have many tracks. I don't have many. This doesn't have many tracks at all. It has 9. The 10th one is only for me to sync my voice and maybe possibly use some examples. Any good kind of orchestral JRPG battle theme always has a rhythm. Actually, before I even go on to rhythm, let's talk about structure. This particular one, usually battle themes would have an intro, a main bit, sort of second bit, and maybe an ending, and then it loops back around. This kind of sort of has that. It only has 2 parts. There's only one main melody, and then a secondary melody to then bridge back into a loop to the first melody. Let me play this so you see what I mean. Blah 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 loop song. So let's talk about let's talk about the structure again. Sorry. So basically, what we did is that we have an intro, which you could argue is literally this. That it starts off with a drum roll, but really the true intro is about 9 measures long. This introduces the listener to the rhythm of the piece. Then we have the main melody, which goes on for about here. And then it goes around once again before going into a second part with a secondary melody, which is around here. And then it loops back into the main melody. So that's basically the structure of the piece. The piece doesn't last any longer than 2 minutes, I don't know. Yeah, about 2 minutes long. Excuse me. So let's talk about the rhythm. So the intro of the piece basically introduces the listener to the rhythm of the piece. And one thing that I was always told about when making battle themes a long time ago, when I used to suck at them, talking years ago, about a decade ago. One thing someone always told me was that battle themes should always have a rhythm. For example, one of the most popular JRPGs out there. Let me hum a rhythm of a popular battle theme that you might recognize, but I'm not gonna do a melody. Just gonna hum the rhythm. Dun 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 dun, and then with the melody, you might recognize it. Dun 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 dun. But yeah, Final Fantasy VII's battle theme. So it's got a recognizable kind of rhythm to it. You could simplify the rhythm by saying by going dun 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 dun. So these rhythms are usually kind of bouncy in nature. So if I start soloing some instruments, I've got 2 string instruments. I've got some low end strings like some cellos and basses, and I've got some violas and violins, both kind of replicating a rhythm. So for example, bum 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 bum. Quite simple, right? And then we've got the high strings doing the same thing. So with the low strings, with this battle theme, I basically have it as the bass line. It drones on. It never changes note. It's the songs in the A minor key. It drones on. It always stays in A. I don't think it actually changes. I think it changes maybe at some point. Oh yeah, towards the end. Yeah, it goes somewhere else. But and then with the high staccato strings, it really isn't required to be there. But what it does is it just kind of plays a counter melody, or counter notes to the rhythm that's being laid out by the bass. Further delving into the intro part of this piece, we have some horns. Basically used to mark the entrance of a grand battle, so to speak. And this is what they sound like on their own. We also have a harp. And we have an oboe. And we've got the standard drum set. So obviously without all these, if we remove some of these pieces, so if we remove the rhythm from this, sounds kind of boring until you bring in a rhythm. So basically with any kind of intro to a battle theme, you want to introduce a rhythm. Usually by using some sort of percussion instrument or some staccato string, something that really accentuates an attack, and makes it bouncy in nature. Moving on to the main melody of the piece, which I believe it lasts to about here. Moving on to the main melody of the piece. So we have the piano here. Basically, when I first started composing this, I used the piano to basically kind of map out the melody. So with pretty much only this and this as my bass and this, so all I had was this, and I ended up making something oops. Yeah, something like that. When you have a rhythm, when you have drums and a rhythm, it's easy to kind of create a melody based on your bass line, your rhythm, and your drums. Oops, I don't know what I'm doing. I can't really reach my keyboard because my microphone's in the way. But I can easily make up another melody somehow. I don't know, something like that. I'm merely merely improvising, but yeah. So what I did with the piano was basically come up with this. So with the main melody kind of just laid out, that's the main melody of the piece. That's going to be the one that's most remembered. I decided to accentuate the piano with some strings, or actually, really, it's the other way around. So I did the melody in the piano, then I made the strings to match it, but I kept the piano in so it could accentuate each and every note that the strings make. Yada yada, you get the idea. So with the harp earlier we had it playing this. Oops, yeah. So, it's like an arpeggiated kind of melody that goes along throughout the entire piece. So what I have that doing is actually, yeah, like I said, playing throughout the entire piece. Oops. It just gives the battle theme a bit more character. And like you notice without it, there's a lot of like really like mid to low sounding, low end sounds going on. Minus the piano maybe. But here it is with the harps in. It just gives everything a bit more flavor and a bit more meat to the piece. What else haven't I gone over? Oh, the oboe. So the oboe I use only in certain places. I think it's a nice, neat little instrument. Honestly, the oboe is just an extra piece that could be in there, it could not be in there. Honestly, if I leave it out of the intro, it's fine. But obviously, you know, to suit what you need for your battle theme, you can have extra instruments, you can have less instruments. It's all up to you. So that covers basically the main melody. The main melody does go again, but what I do with main melodies is that I have them play twice. Once to introduce the melody, and once more to what's the word I'm looking for? To emphasize the melody again. So we bring it to a sort of crescendo, maybe. We add in more instruments. So we add in the horns, and we add in like a violin section. So if I were to remove these two, it would sound the same. Oh wait, oh. The only thing that sounds different here is that the strings that play the main melody, they go up an octave. But introducing also the violin section and the horns, and we've got something a bit more grander. But yeah, so moving on to the second part of the piece, we have a little break. Very simple, but it's supposed to transition the player from the main melody into the second B part of the piece, which would be this. The main instrument here is the violins and the strings. So the interesting thing I did here was at the end of this part with the violins, I had it go down a pitch. That's done by simply moving my pitch wheel down. You could be. I just decided to be a little creative with the violins. Obviously, real violins don't do that, but hey, we're working in a digital world. Also, what's also interesting about this bit is that I also have the oboe play the same melody that's in the beginning. Sometimes what I do, I like to bring back old melodies that I may have used once in the beginning or earlier on in the piece and bring it back for something else. And then it loops back into the main melody again. And that's it, really. That's basically it. I might have rambled on a bit, but main things to get from this is basically you want a structure that has an intro. The intro doesn't have to be as long as what I made it. I made my intro about 8 bars in. You can have your intro be 1 bar or maybe 2, or no intro at all. Or no intro at all. It's all up to you. But what I've done, what I usually do is just have a really long kind of intro to kind of set the mood of the piece, and then we bring in the melody, which doesn't last for too long. It lasts for about 8 bars or 16, I'm not quite sure. And then do it again with a big crescendo, and then a break, and then the B part of the piece, and then have it transition back into the main melody again. Rinse, lather, and repeat. I hope this has made any sort of sense. I did record this impromptu, and I didn't have a script with me. But if you think I should do more of these, do let me know. You can also talk to me on Twitter at McTricky. If you're working on a battle theme but not really confident with them, do feel free to send me them so I can have a listen. Might give you a bit of feedback here and there. But yeah, this has been Jerry. Thanks for watching.